Did you realize that 80% of individuals are stressed and full of anxiety, all directly tied to clutter in their home? And to top this statistic off, an average American home has a staggering 300,000 items, so you are definitely not alone if you feel like you have too much stuff. But there is a way to get through this, and today in this video, I will cover ways to declutter your home or even a loved one's home. Let's face it, you have too much stuff. I have too much stuff. All of us have too much stuff. We all feel overwhelmed with the amount of clothes, the boxes and boxes of those personal items, and all that clutter that just takes up valuable spaces in our home. And if you're thinking of selling soon, or even in the next 5 years, or maybe you have a loved one's home that you inherited or you're currently dealing with, and you will need to declutter that home sometime now or in the future, and today I'm going to help you declutter your life. First off, why declutter? Whether it's your home or a loved one's home, it's not always making that home look tidy, but as I referenced earlier, it can also help you with your mental well-being, especially if you're moving or you're needing to downsize. This can drastically reduce your stress and make your life much more manageable. Decluttering can feel like a forever process, trust me, but if you do it right, there are many efficient ways to do this. Now, step one, you have to set a goal and a timeline. Without goals or timelines, nothing will ever get done. You will need to map this out, write things out clearly on a piece of paper, and just stick to the plan. When you are dealing with a whole house or a loved one's home, figure out what areas you want to start at first. The things I like to suggest to my sellers are just take things one room at a time. And when making that plan, maybe you'll feel like starting with that most cluttered area first. Now, whether that is the garage that may be stacked with boxes or other items, or the basement that became a huge storage area through the years, or that room where everything just seems to pile up, just start there and work your way through the plan that you came up with. For instance, in bedrooms, my advice, if you have nightstands, maybe remove those things that don't belong there. Maybe you have books that have been read just sitting around, maybe pens that don't even work anymore, or even old phone chargers, just things that need to go. Now go to your drawers and your dressers, and if you are beginning your process, just go one dresser drawer at a time, but start with that and just take those small wins as you slowly get through each dresser drawer. You will be surprised at some things you're even going to find when you start tearing through those dresser drawers. Now, when you get to the closets, those are always the big ones. Put all those items again in a pile with things that you haven't worn in years. And we all have those shirts that have hung in our closets for years, and they will be enjoyed by another person. And yeah, furniture, that old chair you haven't used in years, or that table with an inch of dust on it, some other person out there is waiting for that stuff. Now, the one thing that you do not want to do is overwhelm yourself by going all over your home. And again, just pick a starting point and work your way through your plan, and the things will go so much smoother. Now, your next step is to organize things in piles. And what I mean by this is make a keep pile, a donation pile, a sell pile, and a trash pile. Now, that keep pile, this will be for all those things you really love or you use on a daily basis or every so often. And this one is a big challenge, as 65% of individuals admit to feeling sentimental about possessions, and this is what contributed to the clutter in the first place. This also is a big factor to consider when you're cleaning out a loved one's home as well. Now, next is the donation pile. This pile is for things that are in good shape, but you just don't use them anymore. Maybe that's clothing, furniture, and such, things that you just have no need for anymore. And again, somebody else will definitely use it now. There are so many different types of organizations that can take all those things that help out different types of people, which I'll cover here soon. But you will find you are going to have a pretty big donation pile when you are all done. Next is the sell pile. This pile is dedicated to things with some type of resale value. Again, that may be some rare antique furniture, maybe electronics, or there's always certain types of clothing items that people will pay for as well if they're that old vintage stuff. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you may feel more of a sentimental value and attachment, and you're going to want some items or think they're worth a bunch of money, where at the end of the day, you're going to find out those things weren't worth a whole lot. And even sometimes people don't even want those items. So just be careful of getting too many sell items in a pile where you could have just donated those in the first place. Now, last is the trash pile. This one is one that people can get really hung up on as well. The easiest choices for this trash pile are any items that are broken or worn out, like clothing, items that are in need of repairs, or just items that are unusable. And oh yeah, those expired things like food and all those old condiments in all of your cabinets. One thing I'd like to stress, as I've helped many people with loved ones clean out their home, and it is very important to go through this step very carefully. For this situation at times, you may even need a revisit pile for all those tricky decisions. And speaking of decisions, there is a method to help you make those key decisions quickly and save you time. I like to call this the 5-second rule. Others call it the touch it once method. And my 5-second rule is, if you cannot decide on what to do with that item in 5 seconds, then it sure isn't something that you need to keep. And here are some questions that can also help with that decision. You need to ask yourself, does it make you happy? When was the last time you used this item? And would you buy it again? Or if you needed it again, would it cost a bunch of money to actually buy it again? If not, then it's time for that item to go away. And my 5-second rule is keep it or trash it. But obviously, everyone's situation's different. And obviously, if it's an item that could have value, you may want another opinion. But note that doing it this way will always hinder your accomplishments, as these types of piles will fill up quickly through my experiences. So I just like to keep it simple so it's quick, easy, and done. Now, everyone has their own comfort level on those types of decisions. And for those sentimental items, especially a loved one's home, ask if that item has any resale, or has it just been sitting around for years, as it just may be time to pass that along to someone else. Once you have everything in its own piles and you decided what you will keep, it's now time to organize that keep pile. But make sure again that this keep pile isn't just another pile of clutter. Hang those clothes all nice and neat back in your closet, and take note just how open it is and how good it feels. Now you can go get some home organizers to put things all in the right places, organize things by types and so forth. And I'll put some of my organizers that clients and myself have used through the years in my description below to also help you out. Again, due to all of us wanting to keep things, it's still a good time to ask yourself, do I need everything in this keep pile? Trust me, you will more than likely rid yourself of more of those keep items when you go back through it again. Moving on to the donation and sell piles, many people will decide to donate most things, and there are many places that will accept your items. But I want to stress to you though, these places are getting more and more picky about what they will actually take. And what once was a business to actually help others has definitely, in my eyes, turned into a more profit type business. So just understand this. Places like Goodwill, for example, furniture cannot have any types of rips or defects, or more than likely, they won't accept that. And those old TVs you have, depending on their age, you may actually have to pay to get rid of those items. And I have actually found places in my area that work with, say, veterans that have caseworkers for that person, and they'll come out to your house and see what that person needs before you go and get rid of any of those items. Now, whether you decide to donate, always make sure you check their guidelines and such, as each organization has different needs. Now, if you're wanting to sell items, there are many ways to do it. Yard sales, or say maybe your neighborhood has that community garage sale. Those are all very popular things to do. If by chance, though, that's not your thing, you can always post on Facebook Marketplace or even Craigslist. Now, using these sites can be a good way to get your items in front of more people, but it can also be a huge time waster too. People will go and set up times to come pick up things that they told you to hold for them, and then they're always a no-show. Or they'll even come and haggle their way with you, and after all of this, it might have been a better use of your time to just donate that in the first place. And if you have antique furniture, you can call around to consignment places, see what they will do, but usually those types of places, they'll end up taking 50% of that sale usually on those items. Antiques used to be more sought after, but more and more, unless they're rare, some kind of unique item, the younger generations just don't want these types of things anymore anyway. It seems like it actually might be better off, unfortunately, for you to donate those items as well. Now, eBay can be another good avenue, but for the convenience and the reach that they have, their fees will definitely eat up your profits as well. And really, at the end of the day, through my experiences with sellers and families decluttering, a good percentage of those people will choose or actually just end up donating all those sell items all together. Finally, let's talk about that trash pile. Now, depending how much you cleared out, but usually it accumulates quickly, and you're going to have a lot of trash items. Usually too much for regular trash cans, and at times, people need maybe a 30-yard roll-off dumpster. I usually get these roll-off dumpsters set up for my clients. And around the Denver area, I can get a 30-yard roll-off dumpster, usually for around $400 or $500 for about 14 days. And let me tell you something, these roll-off dumpsters keep going up in prices. And it seems I've heard some people paying $600 to $800 just for a few days. So please keep that in mind. And the roll-off dumpsters usually are the option for those big clean out projects, or even if you're cleaning out a loved one's home as well. And let's face it, that part becomes very difficult. Nobody wants to start throwing mom and dad's stuff into a dumpster when you're cleaning out a loved one's home. If you don't think you'll need that large of an option, you can get a waste management bagster, which I'll also put down in my link down below in the description, that you can fill this up with trash and so forth. And your trash source, they'll come out and they will pick that bag up. And I want you to get on their website and such and read what you can and cannot throw into these, and even the large roll-off dumpsters as well, as they all have very strict policies on what they will take. Decluttering a home comes with many challenges and, of course, stress and feelings of overwhelmment. But do not worry. I have personally been through this with my own family. I've helped others go through this, whether it's their own home or helping them declutter a loved one's home. And it is not easy, but just know you are not alone. And remember to take the things one step at a time, get a good plan in place, and you're going to be just fine. And I hope this video has helped you come up with a good plan, and also that it will soon eliminate all that stress and anxiety. And also, please share this with others if you feel it will help them out as well. And if you have other questions about decluttering your home, or maybe you actually need a good real estate agent in your area, my contact link is down below. I'd love to hear from you. I'm David Novak, and we'll see you next time.